So we're talking about a kind of weird scale today, which is called the altered scale. The altered scale, as you may or may not know, is the seventh mode of melodic minor, which is kind of important. It's kind of not. The most important thing is that we understand its intervallic structure and how to use it. Okay. So the altered scale, the best way to think of it is you can play it over a dominant seventh chord because it's got a 1, a 3, and a flat 7 in it, which a dominant chord has got. Those are the important notes in a dominant chord. But every other note is changed, okay? Hence the term altered scale. So it's actually 1, flat 2, sharp 2, 3, okay? Then it goes to flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. So that might be a bit of a mouthful, but that's how it's arranged, and it sounds really outsidey over dominant seventh chords because it's got all those other notes apart from the chord tones are altered. So let's try and think of an easy way to kind of play it, right? Rather than having to think about necessarily. I mean, it's a good thing to think about the intervals, but sometimes you do rely on shapes as guitarists. So a shape that I might use quite a lot might be this. All right, so I'm starting off on the root here. So I'm going 7. So this is E altered. So I'm going 7, 8, 10 on the E string, which is root, flat 2, sharp 2. There's my major third. There is my flat 5. There's my flat 6. There's my flat 7. So I've got this shape. All right. So you could just think of altered as that shape, right? And use your altered scale using ideas just from that shape. So what I was doing over the A chord was in bar 4, I was playing altered as it goes to the 4 chord, right? So we've got our A chord and we've got obviously 4 bars of that, and on the 4th bar I'm playing A altered as it moves towards the D chord to create some tension. So I was doing root, flat 2, sharp 2, 3, flat 5, flat 6. Then on the B string I was doing this. So what I'm doing there is just a chromatic descending line from the A. I'm doing that because I'm targeting this note, which is the major third of the D. So I'm going. So I'm doing that line. Yeah, and that brings me to the major third of the D, which is on bar 5, okay? So over the D, I was doing some whatever I was doing over the D, and then it goes back to the A again. And then when it goes to the E, the 5 chord, I'm playing altered over the E and altered over the D. So I'm doing those scales that I showed you to start off with. So over the E, I'm going, and over the D. So I'm just playing the altered scale really straight. And then over the D, exactly the same, but 2 frets down. So you probably wouldn't use the altered scale that much. I was going a bit over the top with it. You might use it once in a 12-bar progression. You probably wouldn't use your altered scale over the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord like I did, but I was just doing it to kind of demonstrate how to use it. So the way to think about the altered scale is that you want to use it when you want to create tension. And a very good place to create tension is when that 1 chord moves to the 4 chord. That's kind of the best place, I think, for the altered scale to fit over the blues. Because the movement from the 1 chord to the 4 chord is actually although you're moving up a 4th, it's like descending a 5th. All right. So what I mean by that is from A to D, although that is a movement to the 4th, right? If you think of it here, A to D, it's like you're coming down a 5th, isn't it? So this is like a 5-to-1 movement, right? as well as being a 1 to 4 movement. So, but the 1 to 5 movement is stronger, so that kind of takes precedence. So it's a bit like going from your 5 chord back to your 1 chord in a way. So that's why the altered scale works really well there. So have a play around with that. Try and copy that pattern that I came up with. Obviously try it in different keys. But do think about the intervals you're playing as you do it, which is important always. And enjoy. And please remember to subscribe. If you want to learn how to play the rest of the piece, you'll have to check out my Patreon channel, which is available by clicking the link below there. I go through the entire piece and talk about all those bits I did in between the altered runs, and talk about how I use the intervals, why I chose those lines, and how they relate to the chords underneath them. So go and check it out.